everyone. Welcome back to This Week in Marketing Show, also known as the TWIM Show. I'm your host, Sajid Islam, and today I'll be going over the notable news and updates in the digital marketing space from the week of November 30, 2020. So today, first off, we are going to start off with TikTok, and I do not know if you remember this or not. The December 4th was the deadline for TikTok. That was the deadline that was set by the US government. Well, initially in August, President Trump says, TikTok had to either go on a ban in the US for national security reasons, or they have to be purchased by or merged with a US company. And then there was the deal that came in from Oracle, Microsoft, and a lot of news happened. And then, things kind of fell off. They asked for extensions, there was lawsuits, and then finally December 4th was the day when this should have either merged or gone on a ban. But according to the news sources and the news on the media, well, not too many medias are covering it anymore, is that the discussion between TikTok's parent company, which is ByteDance, and the US Treasury Department is still ongoing. They don't plan to ban TikTok. They may ban in a certain way, in some shape and form, but negotiations are ongoing. And the Trump administration is really trying to wrap this up by January 2020, when the administration changes here in the US and goes to the Biden team. And let's see what happens. But for now, TikTok is going on as usual. With that, the other thing we are hearing from unconfirmed sources, because this is not public information yet, is that TikTok is experimenting increase with video lengths of 3 minutes. So it's not like, you're going to suddenly have from 60 seconds to 3 minutes. What people are reporting is that in some accounts, they have the ability to upload longer videos. Initially, it was just for most users, 99.9% is just caps at 60 seconds. Some users are seeing, you can upload up to 3 minutes long. In my opinion, this is a good thing, right? And this is again another punch towards Instagram/IG Reels, because IG Reels all copy TikTok and they do 60 seconds. And if TikTok does move with a 3-minute video, which I believe they will, because some users are seeing it, others are not. So there's probably, again, rolled out into the app. They probably have to flick a switch and then turn it on for everyone. What happens is it puts Instagram in a very crappy position, right? For lack of a better term. What I mean by that is, if Instagram is copying TikTok, then they're going to be basically like, where are they? They're like, IG Reels is 60 seconds, 1 minute, and IGTV is like up to 1 hour, I believe, right? Now, if they increase it to 3 minutes as well by copying TikTok, then they're going to be neither here, either there. So it just puts a lot of pressure on Instagram. But we'll see how that Instagram responds to all this. But for now, keep in mind that there is good possibility that you will be able to upload videos in TikTok up to 3 minutes long. With that, last bit of information from TikTok is that TikTok has published a list of top ranking creators, content, rising stars, as well as 2021 trends. Why should you care? Well, you should care. Number one is it gives you an insight into content and creators that are going viral, that are top. It's something you can study and figure out what you should be doing for your business, right, to get the attention that you and your business deserve. So that's actually a very good point. Plus, you get to see the 2021 trends, right? What's going to happen? It just positions you very well for 2021. Now, I do understand this is the busiest season of the year, whether you are an e-com company or whether you're planning for the next year. But hey, you need to do it, because like it or not, New Year is going to come. Today is December 6th. I'm looking at on my phone the date, and then December 31st comes. That's like 25 days away, or maybe 24, depending on how you look at it. We're going to be in 2021. So you might as well go back and take a look at this. We are going to put a link to this report in our show page, depending on where you are watching it or listening to it. Make sure you check the show page, or make sure you check the details, and you will find it, and then you can take it from there. With that, let's move on to the next part, which is from our friends at Twitter. Twitter is basically saying we're going to do a frequency capping for all types of ad campaign. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what frequency capping means, allow me to explain to you. Frequency capping is basically the number of times a user on Twitter is going to see your ad in a given day. Why does it matter? Well, number one is, imagine if you were seeing the same ad 50 times, number one, it just pisses you off. This is a function that exists in Google and Facebook. I cannot report on other platforms because I really haven't played with other platforms that deeply, but it does exist in Google and Facebook. And number two is, it saves you money as well as an advertiser. You don't want to show your ads again and again to the same user in a given day. While it may make you feel good, but it just gets terms of the user, which I covered a little bit earlier, as well as saves you money, as well as you can take the same money and show it to another new user. So all in all, it's a good point. I don't really have to go to anything deep. You just need to know that frequency capping does exist in Twitter now. If you're thinking of put an ad on Twitter, make sure you do that. And maybe this is a good conversation for you to have over cocktails or virtual cocktails. Now, a lot of companies are actually doing virtual cocktail parties just because we're in the middle of the pandemic and they cannot meet in person. So they're basically getting on Zoom, dressing up and chit-chatting. So maybe that's a good, if you're going to participate in this virtual cocktail hour, happy hour, Christmas party, maybe this is a good way for you to, break the ice and have a discussion on that. With that, let's move on to Google Map. What Google Map has done is they introduced community feed where users can see live updates on events and businesses near them. This is absolutely brilliant from Google, right? And it really attacks Facebook events. Because, if you go to Facebook, it says events near me. Now, we all know everyone uses Google Map, or at least a lot of people. If you're not using Google Maps, your chances are you're using Waze, one of these two, and they're all both owned by Google. But both Google and Waze has two different interfaces, two different functionalities, two different stuff. But it's owned by the same company. But Google Maps is really used. I use it a lot, although I sometimes for directions I would rather prefer to stick to Waze. But coming back, I'm searching for businesses near me, things around me. I would prefer Google and information from Google than Facebook, just because Facebook is so clunky. Facebook is like, it's jack of all trades, master of none. So they really, first of all, they have a bad reputation. They collect a lot of bad data. Well, not a bad data, but they have a lot of information on us. The bad interface, there's too much information. They, they kind of decides what you see and what you don't see. So from that angle, I think, this is absolutely brilliant. Again, I'm not going to go into details how it works because I think you pretty much know how it works. But give it a try. I know I'm looking forward to giving it a try. With that, let's move into the next one, which is again from a friend at Google, which is Google lists the latest trending items based on shopping volume in his gift guide. This is something they started last year, and again they're doing it this year. And there is a website. We're going to put the link to that website if you want to check it out on your own in our show notes page. But basically, some of the highlights from the shopping gift guide is like searching for recipes have doubled this year, reaching an all-time high. Well, that goes without saying because people are home, they are cooking, they are doing things, they're not going out to eat as much as before, so they are going to search for recipes, right? No brainer. They're also searches for home exercises are up by 85%. So if you're in the fitness space, good news for you. Maybe this is the time for you to show your ads to people who are searching for fitness exercises, things like that. Monitors and headphones with microphones saw a 450% spike in searches. Guess why? We are all working from home. Our kids, my children are actually working from home. Not working from home, I take it back. They are studying from home. They do their school virtually. So I had to get them laptops and headsets and things like that. So it goes again without saying. Search for self-care items are also at a higher. I think it rose up to 250%. Toy searches are up by 12%, along with roller skates, kids, books, and backyard games. So what else can you do with these numbers and data? Well, guess what? it's not going to go down anytime soon. So if you are in an e-com business, or if you have a info product, something like that, you kind of position your offer like that way. Or if you're thinking of going into business, into a new territory, new market space, these are ideas that you can look into, right? So use it as you see fit. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, what we have is LinkedIn. LinkedIn has introduced Sales Inside, which will provide more market data, but keep in mind that this is, you can sign up. It's going to launch actually in February 2021. It's not available as of yet now, but from what we read, or what I read, I think it's going to be great. It provides a live overview of business opportunities for my specified market. As explained by LinkedIn, it says Sales Insights gives you the clear visibility into the size and fast growing nature of specific departments, functions, and accounts, so that you can accurately plan your sales strategy in order to point your sales teams to the right accounts and drive more revenue. What that tells me is this is something more positioned towards enterprise market, this solution, than say more like small to medium market space companies, because you usually do not have this kind of departments and functions and things like that in a small to medium sized companies. I, for one, have worked for large enterprises, and I've been part of companies that had more than, from one company I worked for was 1,000 people plus. The other one had like 300,000 employees. So, and in between, the other one I had was we were like 15,000 employees. And we had this kind of things, departments, functions, accounts, things like that. And we kind of know about enterprise accounts and enterprise products and sales. So that's what it tells me. We'll see, remain to be seen. But again, like everything else, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the, LinkedIn page where you can sign up for early access and check it out for yourself. Last up is from LinkedIn as well, and basically LinkedIn came out and just gave us 5 tips for bidding on LinkedIn. Actually, it's a very good primer for anyone who wants to get started with LinkedIn ads without really studying a lot about LinkedIn. Number 1 is, if you do not know what you're doing, easiest and simplest move is to use target cost bidding and maximum delivery. Basically what you're doing is you're going all full automatic, giving LinkedIn the control, and you just don't have a lot of options, like it's just driving an automatic car. But if you really want control, you want to go into manual bidding. Number 2 is, if you're going to do manual bidding, they suggest put a bid range so that your ads are getting more likely to be seen, but you should start at the high end because it's going to help you in winning the auctions. Again, that's really no different from how it works in Google and Facebook. And number 3 is to lower cost with manual bidding. Reduce your bids slowly, monitor campaign performance, and stop lowering the amount if you see a dip in key metrics like impression, clicks, or conversions. Again, this isn't the same thing we do for Google and Facebook. Seems like pretty much the same option, but again, it's worth sharing this with you all over here. Tip number 4: if your campaigns are spending 85% of the daily budget with target cost bidding or maximum delivery, it is an indicator that your campaign is healthy and would benefit from automated bidding to get more results for your budget. Well, that's a very good tip. I could use that. I didn't know that. Number 5 is the forecasting tool will predict performance as you input your campaign preferences. To see what works best for your goals, start by comparing bid type results for a 1-day spend. Now, here I will give you a caution. Number 1 is, we have seen that in this functionality exists in Facebook and Google Ads as well. Now, we all know, if we have played there, that is not really a good tool to go by. But I haven't tested LinkedIn, so I cannot really comment on that. But again, be cautious of this number 5 tip, the forecasting tool, and proceed with caution. I just wanted to warn you out there. Again, maybe LinkedIn has figured it out and Facebook and Google hasn't, because anyway, Facebook is a crappy ad platform anyway to begin with. With that, let's move on to the last slide, which is, folks, that's it for This Week in Marketing. Now you know everything to be in the know. If you'd like to read more, make sure you visit our show page where you will find the links to the articles I mentioned. Once again, this is your host, Sajid Islam, signing off. Until next week. Take care. Bye-bye.